Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, as the title suggests, I am going to be talking to you guys about the things that I find annoying with my Porsche Macan. I've had this car now for about 3 months. We use it daily. We absolutely love this car in the way it drives, the performance on tap and all of that. But there are a few things that I find on a daily basis quite annoying with this, and I'm hoping that you guys out there that drive these cars or drive Porsches generally might be able to help me resolve some of these issues. So the first thing that I find annoying about the Porsche Macan is the key. Now the car is operated using a key, no big deal, but when the key is in the key slot, or when it's in there, the rest of the keys that are attached to it, like my keys for my house, the key ring, and my BMW M4 key, they always end up hitting my knee as and when I'm driving the car. Now of course, you know, the easy option there is to obviously remove all the other keys and just hold on to like the Porsche key and obviously use that, but I don't know, it's a bit of a faff, and the driving position where I've got it is just right for me. So maybe that's me as a problem in terms of, like, say, my body frame or my legs or whatnot, but I do find that when I'm driving and you're going over some undulations in the road and the rest of the keys are just flapping about, they're always hitting my knee. So that's a bit annoying from a day-to-day perspective. The other thing that I find really annoying is this little button on the steering wheel here, the rhombus button I think it's called. You can configure it to do various things, like you can configure it to take off the start-stop function of the car and probably a few other things. I really want to configure like the sports mode on this button, and I can't seem to do that, and that's a bit annoying because in like my M4 you've got the dedicated, you know, M1 and M2 buttons, and it puts the car into like that kind of a drive mode. It would be really cool if I could get that programmed so that when I press it, it goes into its sport or sports plus mode. But I find it really pointless having that button there because I can't really use it and I don't really find any use for it. So I wonder if there's a way of coding that so that it picks up the driving mode that I want. Another thing that I find annoying with this car is the parking sensors. They are just so sensitive. Like you be driving and, like, you know, you get close to the car in front and you might still have, like, I don't know, 3-4 feet in front, and the parking sensors will start bonging away. So I'm always just like forever just switching them off. And even when you, like, say reverse parking or whatever, they're just too sensitive. It's like, I don't know whether it's my car, whether there's most of, you know, most Porsches end up having this kind of issue, but I just find that really annoying. And sometimes, like, you'll just be parked up and a pedestrian will go past and the pedestrian will be like 6 feet away and it'll start bonging away, and I really don't understand that. And I've tried that with Porsche as well. Like, I took it to the dealership and they were like, well, that's just the way it is, there's nothing wrong with your parking sensors. So I do find that annoying. So another thing that I do find annoying is, although you've got the plethora of buttons down here and, you know, they're quite logically laid out, the Sport and Sport Plus buttons, which is what I really find annoying, are they're on the passenger side, whereas in my M4 the driver configuration buttons are closer to the driver. And obviously if this was like a left-hand drive car, then obviously those buttons are exactly where they are. But what BMW have done is, if it's a right-hand drive car, they put those buttons onto the right-hand side, and obviously if it's a left-hand drive car, they move them over from a logical point. So I kind of find that, come on Porsche, you could have just moved these buttons over, you know, for us right-hand drive, you know, drivers. I know, like, there's only probably in the UK or whatnot, but come on, I think that could have been a little bit better. So I mean, I find that annoying is because when I'm driving, I'd rather have the buttons closer on this side rather than that. That's just a small little annoyance anyway, but other than that, the car is obviously brilliant when it's in those modes. So the driver's display on this binnacle here, I think it's a real nice feature because it gives a little bit more of a modernization to what is otherwise quite an analog display. But one thing I really find odd about this is that when I'm trying to browse through my favorite radio stations, which you can see on the main infotainment system over here, that driver's display doesn't give me the next radio station that's available in my favorites. So as you can see, these are my favorites on the main display here, whereas on the driver's display it just gives me a list of all the DAB radio stations, and I really don't know how I can configure what's on my main display to what's on the driver's display. That bit I need a bit of help with. I've tried to do various things like look at forums and stuff, and I can't really find anything there. So if any of you guys have been able to do that, I think that'd be a great help. We've got this little button here which is the voice activation, and in this car I find it totally like useless. In most cars where we've got voice activation, they tend to do like a half decent job. So for example, you press it and you say call home and it will ring like your home landline or whatever it might be, or you know, you might just say call dad or something like that and it'll call your dad or whatnot. This is just pointless. I'll be like, navigate to Birmingham or navigate to London, and it'll just pull out something totally random. I'll kind of say, look, dial home or something, and it will probably again turn up like the temperature. So that is a feature that I don't really use in this car, but it just works so much better in, like, say, my M4, that in this I just don't even bother using it because it's a bit pointless. So these are the few little annoying things that I found from a day-to-day perspective that really do make this a little bit annoying, you know, from a daily. Whereas, you know, if you kind of think of it from a point of, this is a 2018 model year car, and most other German cars of 2018 tend to do these things a little bit better. I mean, like, you know, they evolve the infotainment systems over time and make things much more usable, whereas I think with this is still a little bit cumbersome. Now I know on the newer 2019 model year cars where you got the bigger infotainment systems, most of these things would be resolved, but yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, this car is quite nice to drive. You know, it is pretty much, you know, an all-rounder. I mean, most of the times when I'm choosing between the two keys, I'm always going for the Porsche key, just because it's just so nice to drive and so comfortable, and you know, you got the performance as well. So from that point, it's pretty good, but I think it could have been just that little bit better. Guys, I do hope that you have found this video informative, and I'm really looking for help on this. If you can help me with some of these issues that I've kind of pointed out, mainly like, say, parking sensors, are you having those issues? How do I reconfigure, you know, the driver's display? What about this rhombus button? The other things like the key hitting my knee, and like these sport plus buttons on the other side of, you know, the center console, I guess that is what it is. But these few things, if you guys can obviously help me, that would be really great, and you know, I'll really appreciate it. Give this video a like if you have found it informative, you know, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section below, and hopefully guys, I'll see you on the next one. Take care, bye.